Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I am doing a little draw it again challenge. I've chosen this artwork of this cute little aipom, which I drew a very long time ago. I think I actually drew this like before I even started this YouTube channel. Anyways, I decided to choose this artwork because I thought it would be really cute to try to draw it again and see how my art skills have improved since I last drew that artwork. I actually chose a slightly different pose, and I just kind of tried to keep the overall feel to the artwork, but obviously do it in a better way. So the focus is more on the aipom. He is closer up and he's in a slightly different angle, and I actually decided to draw him with Ash's hat because I thought that would be a really cute little addition, and also it would add a little bit more colour to the piece. And yeah, now you can see that I am inking this piece out, and I am using my Copic Multiliners. Currently using a 0.3mm size fine liner. And yeah, I just went over it all, and then after I did that, I added a little bit of line weight here and there, just so I could solidify the piece. I used the Copic Multiliner brush pen just to do the branch on the tree, and yeah. I'm inking on a separate piece of paper using my light box. The paper I'm using is called x-pressit blending card, and I actually decided that leg there was a little bit too long, so what I did was I just moved the piece of line art over just so that the leg was a bit shorter, and then I inked it then like that. To be honest, I really love aipom. He is actually my partner's favourite Pokemon, and he's so cute and cheeky, and I really love his personality, and that's why I decided to draw him a few years ago, and that's also why I decided to draw him again today. Now I'm just going into the background with my Copic markers just to add the sky in, and at first I used my colourless blender to go over where I wanted the clouds were, just to saturate that paper, just so I could go around again with the blue, and it kind of bleeds in together. And a lot of people just use the colourless blender to kind of smear the ink around or lighten it, but I actually went the opposite way and did the colourless blender first and then went in with the colour. And to be honest, not sure exactly what to call this, so I'm just going to say it's a wet on wet technique, which is what a lot of people do with watercolor, so it's a kind of similar thing if you think about it. Anyways, now I'm just going in with the background, and I did some lighter leaves, tree foliage type thing down below, and that's the closest part of the background. And then I did a bit further back, and I did a darker green, and I'm adding in that river that I had in the old piece. Of course I wanted the same feel to the artwork, and of course I didn't want to change it too much, so I did add that river, and I think it helps with a bit of blue down the bottom. And then after that I went in with my spectrum green marker just to add the mountains behind. And then I went in with my robin's egg blue and then layered spectrum green over that for the mountains really far back. Because when you draw mountains in really far back, they do have more of a bluish tinge, and that helps to separate them further. Now I decided I wanted another cloud on the other side of the piece to try and balance it, but it was a bit hard because for some reason the blue ink don't really like to budge. But I just kept going over that with my colourless blender and left it to dry, and I decided I was going to fix it later. Now I'm just going in with my buttercup yellow and light orange markers just for his belly, and then I used mallow and amethyst for his skin, fur, whatever you call it, the main colour of his body. I tried to make sure that there was a good amount of highlights and shadows, because in the old piece I didn't really do many highlights or shadows at all. I kind of just coloured him over with my Derwent pencils. Now some would say I should have used pencils for this piece, but markers are my main thing at the moment, and back then I didn't own any markers, so that's just what I want to do with this piece. Now I just add a little bit more colour splendor just on his belly, so it added a little bit more lightness to it. And now I'm just going back over the darkest green, just to add a little bit more texture so that it looks a bit more leafy, I guess. Because obviously it's further away. I'm not going to draw the leaves exactly how they are, but you can allude to them. And now I'm just adding a very dark blue, I believe it's my Prussian blue marker, to the purple bits just to add a bit more deeper shadows. Because sometimes I like to add the shadows with a different colour, a different hue, because I find that kind of makes it more deeper and makes it look a bit more dynamic. Now the same kind of thing, I'm adding a bit of yellow to the highlights actually, and also a little bit of colour splendor over the top of that, for the same reasons, because I like to have different colours in the highlights as well as the shadows. Now I'm colouring in Ash's favourite red cap, and I'm actually really happy that I added the cap in there because that adds a bit of pop of red, because there's a lot of blue and purple and green. A bit of red stands out pretty nicely. I also made sure to shade that red colour with a bit of purple, because again I like to shade things with different colours. And now for the tree branch, I'm just layering different earth tones over it, making sure to do some shadows and highlights as well. Just deepening the shadows a little bit more. Once I got all the shadows and highlights down pat, I went in with my darker brown markers, I believe it's burnt umber, just to add a little bit more texture to the grain of the tree branch. Just to add, kind of visual interest, and so you can see the bark more. And I actually really like the look of this, and I kind of did it randomly throughout, and I'm actually pretty happy with this aesthetic. And finally, as always, I am doing the last touches of this artwork with my white gel pen, just going around a few parts just to add some highlights and make the artwork pop a little bit. And I made sure to add a little bit more highlights just to the blue of the rivers behind him, because the water would obviously reflect a lot of light, and I think it looks pretty nice. I did add a lot of highlights to the tree trunk, and I'm not sure if I love it or hate it, but I think it still looks pretty good. Finally, I'm just adding a little bit more texture to the trees in the closest part of the background. Just again, because I like to make sure that there's textures throughout, because it can make a difference. And lastly, I add a bit of white gouache paint just to the cloud that I was trying to lighten before, because that's just how I thought that I would get it the best I could. And here's the old piece, how it was, and finally the new improved piece. And I'm actually really happy with this artwork. I think it looks way better than the old one. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And if you're new here, check out my older videos. I have a lot. I have Twitter, Instagram, Redbubble, where you can get prints. And yeah, hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!